Hi guys, it's Ease here, and today I'm going to go through a premium deck profile that I saw online and tested it with a little bit changes, so it fit myself a little bit more. And the clan that we are going to talk about today is Link Joker. So this is actually a fun build that doesn't involve Shazam, so of course enjoy this deck profile. So starting Vanguard, we are using any V error starting Vanguard, so you can stay in solo, draw one card, get a quick shield if you're going second. Then we are entering one of our hero of the deck is Freezeray Dragon. So Freezeray Dragon can be defensive with his limit break 4. As long as you lock one of your opponent's regards, then you can get 3k, and whenever you take damage, you can lock one of your opponent's regards. And it's very important in this deck. Then here comes our Greyon, which is one of your win con. Not about the first skill to counterblast and delete. You're never going to use that skill because you don't have that much deleters in this deck. And what importance is the second skill. When he appears on the Vanguard circle, your opponents will need to banish delete 2 cards from the drop area, which we'll explain in a bit. And then to help you banish delete, you have your Sword Shield Dragon. He is also a Cyber Dragon, same as Freezeray, which you see why we are running so many Cyber Dragons. Of course, Cyber Dragons are good. And you can get a force markers for this deck. The force marker that you will be getting will be force 2. You only get one chance to get it, which is riding Sword Shield Dragon. So this deck doesn't require you to use any force markers at all. But if you by chance get to ride Sword Shield Dragon, you can always get a force 2 and try to push damage. Also, he can use his skill to counterblast 1 and banish delete one of your opponent's regards every single turn, but usually I won't use that skill. And the second skill I will also likely not going to use. But if you need, you can counterblast 1, so blast 1 grade 3, and turn all your opponent's face down bound cards face up. And until their turn ends, they cannot normal call the units with the same name of the cards that you revealed face up with this skill. But usually, again, I won't be using the second skill. First skill, maybe if I can strike, but most of the time I won't be able to use those skills. For grade 2s, I am running 4 of the 15k shield vanilla. It's important in the deck. And another ace in the deck is for Gravity Collapse Dragon. He is the grade 2 that you will want to ride every single game as your grade 2, because whenever he hits the Vanguard as a Vanguard or Vanguard, but you want it to be a Vanguard, of course, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, search for a grade 3 Cyber Dragon, and put on top of this card. If you call on a Regard, then you need to retire Collapse Dragon. So you always want to use this skill, look at top 5 to superior ride your Freezeray. If not, Sword Shield Dragon is also okay, which will help you to get a force marker. And if you are going first, then you can strike next time when your opponent is grade 2, which is very important and very beneficial. But most of the time, you just want to superior ride your Freezeray, so as long as your opponent is starting to hit you, you are going to lock their cards. And then I am running 2 of the photons in case you need to lock more cards, and 2 Geary, which helps you to banish delete further or sometimes draw cards. In the original list, the player is using 4 photons, but for me, when I test today, I never get a chance to actually lock cards with photons, so to me it doesn't matter too much. But since it's a free lock, sometimes you can't lock enough cards and can be useful, but I find this ratio is better because I want more deleters in the deck. And let's talk about grade 1s. So for grade 1s, I am running 2 of the hit elementals. so that your both players Vanguard will always need to hit Vanguard, so helps you to lock more cards with Freezeray. Your opponents cannot damage deny you because their Vanguard has to attack and has to attack Vanguard unless they cannot attack. So do help you a lot. And I'm also running 4 of the 15k shield vanilla crate elementals, shield value, and also can be searched by your Tempest Sphere. If you're grade 2, so increasing your chances. Once you open your Cyclone with Tempest Sphere, your elemental will be 13k booster in helping you hit easier with gravity collapse, because can hit 23k at least, which is quite hard to guard early game. So makes you easier to Superiorite into your Freezeray, so you can do a lot more work. Then I'm running 2 of these deleters. If you see your opponents are having some early games combo cards, like the grade 0s, maybe sometimes the grade 1s, and you find them annoying, you can always banish delete them with this card. And if you want more control of your field or your opponent's field basically, then you can use these promo deleters to so +1, and they cannot turn their face down card face up during the next end phase. So it's a Omega lock and likely Omega delete, but you normally won't be deleting your opponents, so usually you just see this card as a Omega lock. And maybe if your opponents are going to turn their damage face up during the end phase, this card can also stop it. And about triggers, I am running 4 of the GB1 gain, so draw 1 plus 10k crit triggers, so that if you by chance to use Tempest Sphere to flip your Cyclone face up and boosting with your Great White Elementals and attacking with your Gravity Collapse, you can also call this guy out, put him into Soul to make your Gravity Collapse to be a 13k, 33k attack. So your opponents basically won't be able to guard unless they drop a PG early game. So again, leads you to easier to hit your Freezeray Superiorite. Then I'm also running 2 of the Strike Water crit, because you do strike a lot. Then I am running 4 of the PG draws and 2 of the get 3k draw, because Soul is also important. And I'm running 4 of this old heals that allows you to remove 2 heals when you use this heal to call G Guardians to Soul Charge or Counter Charge, depending on which ones you need. So let's go to the G zone and see what we can work with this deck. So here comes the G zone. First, 2 Cyclone. Since we are running Vanillas, we are running Tempest Sphere, we always want to flip our Cyclone so we can get our Vanilla's power. Even the 7k grade 2 can also be a 12k attacker and just intercept for 15k, so can be helpful. And again, if you have nothing to do, like your opponents have no regards at all, you can't do anything, but you still want to strike, you can strike into Cyclone. If you never get into your Tempest Sphere, because the 5k plus can also be active when this card is on the Vanguard circle, and you can, as long as you drive check a vanilla card, then you can stand off your regard, so you can kind of do multiple attacks with this card, but most of the time you're going to flip it. And then I am running 4 of the Group or Avalanche. This is your key card, and it will be your first strike. the most important skill is his first skill, which is permanent on G zone. As long as you have 2 global avalanche on your G zone face up, when your opponents unlock, they will be banish delete instead. And you want to banish delete your opponent's cards as much as possible, so you will need to first try and flip this card, so you have always have 2 global avalanche active on your G zone face up. That's important. And also this will make all the cards that forcing Freezeray to take damage to be locked and gone, so you can stop your opponents doing combos and make sure they are banished delete and they will not stay on the field and ruin your plans. The second skill is to Soul Blast 1 and turn 1 face up, turn 1 G zone card face up. By doing so, you can lock 2 of your opponent regards, and for each locked cards and banish deleted cards, during the turn, your front row unit or your front row unit will get 2k. So he can also pump you some power, but the key point is still on the banish delete part. And I'm running 2 of the Nebula Dragon from Premium Collection 2020. He is also a card when you have nothing to do, then you can strike into this card to flip one of your Cyclone, or maybe flip another copy of this card. And then if your opponent is playing Gears, then you can at least remove 2 of their force markers if they appear in the Great Force, so that you can get 20k and 2 crits. If your opponent is using XL clans and put a lot of XL circles, you can just clean them up, and for each markers clean, you get 10k and crits. If the opponent is like using protect clans, then you can also clean their protect markers. So you get 10k and a crit, they lose 1 PG and they need to use the draw PG or maybe their other PGs to stop your attack. Also, since Grand Blue is going to get treasure markers, so those will also be target for this card. So if they like put 6 and try to do some big move, and you can just strike into this card, flip 1 G zone card face up and clean all the markers and get 10k and 1 crit for each marker cleaned. So this card can be useful. I actually couldn't find use of these 2 cards until I meet this deck, so I'm really thankful to see this build and have fun with these cards. And then I am running one of the Predator Dragon, so it helps you to push damage, since when this card attacks, you can turn your opponent's Vanguard to 0 power for the turn. So you can just keep hitting them hard and try to push them damage, because damage is important, and this will lead you to your GB8s, which your GB8s by Counter Blast 1 and discard 2 cards for each damage on the damage zone. Then you can select one of their empty regard circle, and for each circle selected, they will need to put their hands on those circles as locked cards, which during the end turn will all be banished delete by avalanche. So you are definitely removing their hands, and they are not going to stay on the field. Which sometimes when you use strike into your GB8, by doing so your opponents may have like 3 cards or even lower, then you can just win the game by then. But if not, you still have another win con, which is the wonderful deleters. So you need to have a deleter heart in order to use this skill, which is Counter Blast 1 and retire one of your deleters regards. Then you delete your opponent's Vanguard, lock one of their back row, and banish delete one of their card from their drop zone. And if they have 4 or more damage, and if they have 13 or more banish deleted cards, to win the game. So you actually don't need to hit them for 6 damage. What you need to do is to banish delete 13 of the cards, which is quite easy. This can at least help you to get 4 of 5 cards. And when you strike this, you usually can lock 1 or 2 cards, so that's already 6. And since you are going to use Crayon as a finisher, so you will write into your Crayon, which will banish the 2 of the cards. So assuming this is 4, this is a 6, and then there's 2 more, which is 8. You just need to find your way to banish the 5 more cards, which this one already helped you with 1, so you only need to banish the 4 cards. So basically you just need to take 4 damage and lock 4 cards, and that's it. Also, there's also other cards that helps you to do this, but we will go through it in a bit. For G Guardians, I'm using one of the switch hands, so that if I want some better hands, I have a chance to do that. And since my regards doesn't really matters that much, I have my special win con. I can lock them for 5k shield, which I can also get to draw cards if I have 2 or more lock cards on both players' field, like total. So it's quite easy to get. And another G Guardians that helps you to get to the 13 numbers will be your G3 G Guardian. So you can counter plus 1, turn 1 of your G Zone G Guardian face up, which usually will be this guy. Then you can lock any number of your regards, and your opponents will need to lock the same numbers on the back row. So if they're 3, you lock 3, then you lock 3 of their back row regards, and as long as you have your avalanche active during the end turn, you will have 3 cards banished deleted. So also helps you to get the combo done. So this are G-Zone, and let's talk about how this deck work. So usually you will just write into any great ones you want, probably these, so that you can keep your deletious in hand. Or if you are certain you can hit big numbers, then you can try something, write something else. Then grade 2, you will try your best to write into your Gravity Collapse, call something 8k, so you can hit for 18k. Most of the time your opponent is on 8k Vanguard, so training for 18, they will need to use a 15k for 1 pass. Then if you use your Hemisphere, turn 1 of your Cyclone face up, then it will be a lot easier to hit, because you are hitting for 23k. And if you lucky you get a crit, you can get a draw 1 and hit for 33k, which is most likely going to hit. If then you look at the top 5, most of the time you will just try to strike superior into your Freezeray Dragon, so that you can start locking and stopping early combos. And if you can't find one, you can always ride into your Swatch Shield, get your Force 2 markers, and strike every single turn and hit them hard. And as long as you draw into your Freezeray, you can just ride them back. Then, as long as you are on your Freezeray, then what you need to do is to make sure you strike into upper launch and turn 1 face up, so you can lock 2 cards, and make sure as long as unlocked, their banish delete condition is there. So even if they are trying to flip those cards face up, they will also be clean. Even though they can call new cards, you can always stop them by taking hit. Then you will start to feed your G zone to like GB8, which usually like this, and maybe using one of the G Guardians or that, which is not hard. You just need to Tempest Spear 2 times, strike 1 time, strike 2 times, use a G Guardian, But if you never get into that point, you can always do this. Probably if you are like very unlucky to have so many cards in your so many heals in your hand, like 3, you can use 1 G Guardian, use another G Guardian, leave 1 face up and use another G Guardian. Right, then you already GB6. And if you use a Tempest Spear, then you already can go with your GB8 next turn, which you're going to at least take 4 cards from them away, and usually you can win by doing that. If not, then you just need to keep yourself 13 cards, 13 banished cards by riding your Greyon, take 2, strike into this, then eat this, or eat this, or eat this, or even your Greyon to take 1 more out so that you can banish, delete 13 cards and win. So basically that's how this deck runs. It's not very hard to pilot, but there are some weaknesses in this deck. Of course, your opponents cannot damage deny you, so unless you never get into your hit elementals, but you always don't need to play a lot of Vanguards on the field because they are not very high power, and they are shield value. They are 15k shield, 15k shield, right? So you don't need to do a lot of things. So just try to get your Freezeray as quick as possible and start your engine and place your hit elemental so your opponents need to hit you hard. And if you don't want your opponent's field to be cleaned that early, because you know next turn you probably have nothing to do, then you can call this promo Soul Blast 1 so that you Omega lock those cards. And because sometimes you might not have enough resources to keep locking your opponent's cards, and you haven't reached your GB8s. Like maybe you only have like 3 cards there, and you don't know what to do, then you can still strike into your next sets of launch, lock 2 cards and Omega lock them so you can stay for a little longer with those cards, and slowly get to your GB8, clean them, strike your GB8, clean the hands, try to win that game, that turn. If not, then go back to your win con and try to win the game. Yeah, so I think this is all I need to say about this deck. It's quite fun, and it's always good to get back to our Freezeray and have fun with it, because when this card is first out, it's really not popular, and he was popular for a little while when Messiah is here, but it's not like very key to that deck, and that deck is not always very strong. But with this deck, I feel this Freezeray is a lot more important because you will be using Freezeray most of the time, and it's basically your main Vanguard, because Greyon is for you to finish your opponents off. So most of the time you still be using Freezeray, and he can be this defensive. Yeah, so I am happy to see Freezeray to be great again, and again, Cyber Dragon. Even though most of the time when it's talking about Cyber Dragon, we are talking about Chaos Breaker, but this is a good build, and it's fun to play. You have control, you have special win con, You can clean markers, you can lock your opponents, stop them attacking you. You have Freezeray to stop comboing. And if you are like going great ones, going first, you might need to suffer from a great one's ascent turn. But after that, as long as you ride into your Freezeray, as long as you take hit, you can lock the other side, so your opponents cannot hit you so many times with big numbers. And usually Vanguard will be a lot weaker, so you can use some different cards to guard, and you have so many 15k. So this should allow you to stay in the game longer. And one of the worst situation that I face today is my great ones is only with a auto card that I cannot use it because I'm on grade 0 and I cannot G assist because I got a grade 1 card. So that is probably the worst situation that you face, but try not to be there. If you got a only got a grade 1 Tempest Sphere and you don't have any grade 1s in hand, I would really suggest you to shuffle your Tempest Sphere back to your deck so that you won't draw into just grade 0, 2 and freeze, and you can't ride, you can't G assist, and that is painful. Because as long as you can ride normally and try to hunt for your Gravity Collapse and go to Freezeray, you will be fine with this deck. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy this Cyber Dragon deck. Last time when I do a Cyber Dragon deck profile on Standard, I did see a lot of people interested in it. So when I see this build with Cyber Dragon being good again, with of course new cards, Tempest Sphere, and not using Cezanne, and it's not a rushing deck, it's more on control and later game with special win con, so I think it's more fun with this deck instead of playing decks with Cezanne. So I hope you like it. Comments below any questions you have, maybe like how some of the card works, how some of the combo works, yeah, everything about this deck. Yeah, so again, thanks for watching, and I will be doing more premium card fights and deck profiles. Unfortunately, I was testing this deck only, so I haven't get any fight recordings on this, but I think I've explained enough for you guys to understand how this deck works. So I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.